Hi, Beck Mack here for Pops Art, and I am at the Queensland College of Art to talk to Matthew Newkirk here about the shocking proposed cuts by Griffith University to the Queensland College of Art. Now, the Queensland College of Art is renowned around the world for its staff and it's for graduated alumni who have worked across diverse industries, top of the game. And myself went there in the 80s, believe it or not. And so it's got a special place in my heart. Now, thanks for taking the time to have a chat, Matthew. I know you're really busy, but can you just give us a brief overview of the impacts of these cuts to QCA?
Sure. The proposed cuts from QCA are suggesting that two studios are closed, the printmaking studio, jewellery and small objects, along with getting rid of two parts of the Bachelor of Photography degree, advertising and photojournalism, and also creative media is being taken down to a minor, along with other funding and staff cuts.
So have you got any numbers on potentially how many staff members will lose their work?
Yeah, look, Beck, if this goes through, this is based on full-time staff alone. If these proposals go through, then 44% of the full-time staff here at QCA will lose their jobs. And that's not counting sessional staff or teachers' aides, who often do a lot of the heavy lifting here at QCA and teach, first or second year classes, for instance.
Wow, how incredibly disabling for the actual institution to do its business. And also, what's been the impact on the students?
Well, I think the students have felt like they're not too sure whether Griffith is supporting the arts nowadays. So there'll be a direct effect to them, students who were looking to study printmaking perhaps next year or in the future, oncoming students, and particularly HDR, higher degree researchers like myself, access to facilities.
Yeah. Now, this college was created in 1881. I'm sure it's seen so many challenges and changes, but it's been incredibly influential on the development of Queensland as a state, as a cultural state. Has the most amazing amount of artists have emerged from QCA. You've told us about the impacts on the staff and the students, but this will have an incredible impact on the cultural capacity of Queensland. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think that there's a huge flow-on effect from these proposed closures. For instance, the printmaking studio, the alumni that have produced work there, particularly alumni from CAIA, the Contemporary Australian Indigenous Art program that we have here, which is one of a kind. A lot of those students will utilise print and jewellery as part of their undergraduate, and the alumni that has come from them and the rest of QCA as well will suffer. Names like Michael Zavros, or people that have come from CAIA like Fiona Foley or Judy Watson, all utilise the print studio.
Yeah. And I guess also, if you can't get those courses here, people will just migrate to the south, which has always been an issue for Queensland, keeping its artists here, keeping its artists working in Queensland. So if this closes down to that extent, we're going to have an incredible talent drain, and that's a really big issue.
Yeah, I think that's huge. Like, Griffith offers some one-of-a-kind courses here in Queensland, and a lot of the other courses such as jewellery and some of the specialised photography courses are only offered at a handful of places in the rest of Australia. So the flow on from that will be enormous, I think.
And surely on the global stage of the world, the reputation of Griffith University will be really diminished by these choices?
Well, I think that's something that's a concern to the students, and particularly the higher degree research students or the postgraduate students, is that the integrity and the reputation that Griffith has as a university to support the arts will be diminished, and so therefore the brand that we research and work under won't be as valued on the international stage.
Now, I've been watching this evolve on social media, and Pat Hoffey's been doing some really great critical writing around it. And one thing that really stood out to me was the importance of the studio practice for the artists and for the students. Can you just give us a little bit of insight into why that's so crucial?
I think as an artist, as a creative, you do make investigations, and you do need a place where you can work and make mistakes. That's how your practice develops through that process. So to reduce everything to a Zoom meeting essentially, like that. It's not beneficial for the arts here in Queensland and for the culture that spreads beyond the university here. The flow-on is enormous.
Yeah. And I mean, to me, this seems like very short-sighted. It seems very knee-jerk. And I mean, I am really concerned around what's happening to Australia at the moment. There seems to be a culture war. The federal government's targeting the arts in the way it's structuring university fees. During COVID, they have given hardly any consideration to the precarity of the arts as an industry and the people that work in it. What do you feel this is about? Am I alluding to something that's not there, or what's your personal feelings on what this is all about?
Well, look, I think that people can speculate about where these decisions are made, but I think you're right as well. Like when you look at a broader scale, like the federal government folding the arts portfolio into something like transport or whatever. Again, the budget that was just recently released that has very little to do with arts at all. COVID has been a horrible thing that we've all had to deal with, but at the same time, I think that this is a climate where you can kind of throw any sort of agenda that you want at COVID, and again, I just hope that Griffith maintains its support of creative arts. When it joined with QCA back in '91, it made a commitment to creative arts here in Queensland and nationally, and we would just like them to uphold that.
So it sounds like everyone in the community needs to support what's happening here and get behind the students and the staff and the culture of Queensland, and also the incredible history that the QCA has created so that the future can be as strong and as influential. So what would you like to say to everyone out there? What can they do today to help out?
If you're concerned about what's going on, there's a Facebook group which is community, alumni, and current students at the moment. If you search for that, that's where a small group of alumni, students and postgrads are putting together a response to this proposal. So join that group, stay up to date. There's a petition that's going to be delivered to the Vice-Chancellor of Griffith University. Sign the petition, share it amongst your networks, spread it far and wide, and let's let the university know that the arts are valued here in Queensland.
Absolutely. And just quickly, there's a deadline on that, so there's not much time to really get this activated.
That's right. The response to this has to be in by the 27th of November. So jump on your computers straight away, download the posters, spread them far and wide, get onto that petition, spread it through your networks, and hopefully we'll see a really good outcome from this.
Yeah, well done, and do everything he said. We can save it! And if not, then we'll come up with another plan, and it'll be even more amazing.